Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe Dee.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Dee Baer, and this is one of these extra Life's Milkshake moments. I'm so delighted and privileged to share this message with you and to just bring what we can do to eliminate stress. Not entirely, because that never is the case. We're going to embrace stress today. What is the word embrace? Is just bring it in, make it intimate to you, and just make it mean something that only you can do. We all have stress, so just get ready. So if you are not familiar with my voice, my face, or this message, I am Dr. Dee Baer, known as America's top foundational health coach. Word says, since we've been doing this movie and filming for the frequency of miracles, I'm now saying I'm a world-renowned practitioner. I don't know, you decide, but I'm just Dr. Dee. For 47 years, I've been just teaching people. When I had my practice, 35,000 client patients were able to embrace and lose 1.1 million pounds of toxic fat. And guess what? The next pounds you want to lose, the next transformation is yours right here today. And then when I unretired after retiring during COVID, I had the privilege and honor of bringing over 10,000 client patients through to restart, reclaim, and rejuvenate their health. Through now, as Les Brown says, we went from brick and mortar to click and order. I didn't know anything about the internet, didn't have a website, didn't know that I could actually do telehealth. None of that, none. Well, I embrace the stress and put that positive stress here. And that's why I can say that we have the Healthopedia channel. We have Healthopedia 2.0, The Essence of a Woman book. And of course, our first Healthopedia, our absolute inaugural Healthopedia, putting the pieces together of foundational health. What does foundational health mean? Well, it's foundational health from the inside out. As I said, transformation is an inside job. Transformation, what does it mean? In all 6 pillars of health, as you see, our first 1.0 book, you can see spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial health. It's all these 6 pillars. And when you have these in order, even though you have stress, it's stress that is something that you can go through and get through. So today we're doing this, just me, Dr. Dee. I'm privileged to bring to you the message of embracing stress. And we'll start right after this commercial message. And who are we starting with? New Hope Regeneration. Kevin Lucas has absolutely second to none the most amazing stem cells. As you know, my story, that I was paralyzed from the shoulders on down at age 24. I can tell you, I was able to restart, rejuvenate my life to the point, but I still had neck pain. I didn't have this mobility until I found Kevin Lucas 18 months ago. These stem cells brought me hope, brought me back to this regeneration that I'm now feeling absolutely pain-free. So take a look, take a listen, and hear the heart, the passion, and soul of Kevin Lucas. Now, they're located in Florida. Their main office is in Pensacola, but they have 19 locations throughout the country. This is Kevin Lucas, owner of New Hope Regeneration.
Hope and restoration really are ingrained in us. We're designed. It's literally in our DNA. The ability to have the body heal and have the mind and the soul, all these things are important. But what I believe my path is, and the way that I help people with that process, is that I specialize in the physiological aspect. So for 20 years in my private practice as a board certified structural integrator, I thought I was helping people restore their bodies, but I realized I was helping them manage their decline. The restoration of families is significant. I can't tell you how many times I would have a mom in tears in my office because she couldn't get on the floor and play with her kids. I would have a dad who couldn't go on a hike or throw a ball with his son or his daughter. It's really, when you ask people, what's the biggest problem here? My back pain hurts. Okay, if you didn't have back pain, what would you do? Then we get the list of, my wife and I could go on a motorcycle ride. We could go camping. I could go play soccer with my son. I could, whatever it happens to be. Now we're in a situation where a person can receive these amazing infinity cells. The body can use those cells for what it knows it needs to do. Our clients are able to receive the most simple thing that I have ever seen in all of healthcare, and they're able to get their life back at a level that many people would say was impossible. And quite frankly, until 5 years ago, I would have also told you that was impossible because we never see it. And now we see it all over the country, hundreds of times a day, thousands of times a year. And now I've observed this process over 125,000 times. I just almost don't have words to know, after I've seen it so many times, what kind of hope people can get back in their lives. If we can help your body do what it's naturally designed to do, which is to regenerate and restore and heal, you can then begin to do so many other things that you didn't think you were ever going to be able to do. And that really is why, I'm so obsessed with what we're doing.
As I said, new hope regeneration. That's my message. You heard me as you heard the main singer, Alicia Williamson, sing my intro. There is hope. The reason I can use that copyrighted music is because I was the background vocal singer in that Grammy Award wonderful CD, wonderful tribute to There Is Hope. There is hope. And think about that. Kevin was talking about infinity cells. What I'm talking about today is truly infinity as well. As you can see, my background of my big bear and myself. And many of you know, if you follow me on Instagram, you follow me on Facebook, always follow our Healthopedia. Follow our Healthopedia Instagram. Follow me on Twitter, Coach Jody, but mainly IG, Healthopedia 365. Go to Facebook, Healthopedia. That's our brand. And of course, LinkedIn, the same. And our YouTube channel, Healthopedia 365. You can see us where we broadcast, actually, amazingly, as I'm talking about intuition. My nose always itches. It happens all the time. What is this? The YouTube channel 9 times a month. We're bringing you content with Mindset Monday. This is an extra Healthopedia Milkshake moments. I honor Traverse TV of having our own channel, the Healthopedia channel, where we bring holistic healers, you name it, we bring it there. However, what I do believe is that there's a personal side to everyone. And I just feel called, just like Wednesday, I had gone ahead and was on the Kim Jacobs show, and we talked about embracing stress in the recent passing of my big bear, September 29th of this year. And I did my radio show with the incomparable, unbelievable that I've been on radio, on Blog Talk Radio, on syndicated radio with Peter Mingles, Building Fortunes Radio for 14 years. I started just a year after Bob and I were married. And I gave my radio show, and so many things that I do with Peter are always the first. But I just decided I need to do this one more time because this message is really important. It's really important to me in the passing as I'm giving it a code name. You know, I always do that. If you're familiar with me, you listen to me, I call it BBP, Bob Baer passing, because that negative energy of just saying those words puts you back in the past. And I believe that we are in the now, because now spelled backwards is one. But honoring what you had, honoring my soulmate, the love of my life for 15 years is important. And I'm going to give you tips and just not only tips, but tools. I know there's somebody out there that needs to hear this message, as my hashtag has been gratitude in grief. Acknowledge the grief, but grieve grateful. Be grateful for this person. I want you to see this happy couple. We were married at the Biltmore. Yes, and I wore a red dress. Absolutely. And we had just an amazing time. You see him on that side. I was kissing right here. I think he was giving me his energy in my pituitary gland. But for the first part, I just want you to come in with me for just a moment so you can perhaps meet the man for the first time. Perhaps you can listen to what I have to say, but perhaps it'll give you healing and hope for your situation that you are in, or a loved one that you know, that you can pass on this message of gratitude and grief. Now, I called him my big bear. Why? Because he was tall, and I am not. I have a big voice, but I am not tall. So it was just really always a fun way when he would call me Boo Boo Bear, and he was Big Bear. But my heart and my soul aren't broken. No doubt about it. We've lost a marvel of a human. And just as he had asymptomatic AFib prior to his ischemic stroke in August, the diagnosis, even at ORMC, they said, well, only 1 in a million are asymptomatic. Well, it fits, doesn't it? He was my big bear, 1 in a million. There's never a soul like the one that leaves. There is a hole. There just is. But even in our last conversation, y'all, I was able holistically through molecular hydrogen. Check it out if you haven't. Hydroheal.com, best modality ever that I've seen with molecular hydrogen. I was able to bring not only his eyesight that had been fading with macular degeneration, but brought his brain back. This is how acute he was. 4 days for his passing, we had this conversation. And this just epitomizes who Bob Baer was. He said during our Essence of a Woman book, this one. And I had a photocopy, and he had been going through it, and we were looking at our proof copy, and he said, oh boy, I get to see a book. And you'll know why that's so important. But he went through and he goes, the print's too small. It's not like the Healthopedia book. It's not one that you keep on your desk. This is a man who had just had an ischemic stroke in his brain, rather severe, 6 weeks ago. And he said, no, the font needs to be larger. And let me see what else I can see. And energetically, now I've got to have it packed, but I'm in the social pillar this time. And he said, he energetically came to page 353. That number is 11. It's an angel number. When he goes, who is that pretty girl? He was always so affirming. But he said, didn't you have this book launch scheduled? And I said, yes. It was supposed to be in September. He said, well, what happened to it? And I said, well, I rescheduled it for later on. Well, why'd you do that? And I said, well, because I was helping you get well. And he goes, well, I'll be okay. You rescheduled that. And I said, I have. And he has rescheduled it for October 18th. And he said, well, that's great and then he, out of the 40 authors, y'all, he started naming off, and he got up to 32. Now, the professor in him, he would always say, well, what's my grade? He's rattled off 32 of the 40 authors. I'm not even sure I could do that myself. I said, wow, honey, you did great. He goes, what kind of grade did you give me? And I goes, I give you an A+. He goes, okay, I did my job, but you need to do yours because this is important. The Bears are professional, and we finish the job. Don't we, boo-boo? I was on the hook to debut that book in October. Why do I tell you that? Because that was hard. That was really hard. 3 weeks prior, I had just lost the love of my life, but it was a mission. And sometimes you have to carry out that mission for others. But that embracing stress, what did I do? I stepped back. You haven't seen much of me for about a month because I needed time just for me time. That is embracing stress. But that story was just epitomizes the man who, as I said, I had been single for, just got to think, 18 years before I met Bob. But I didn't meet Bob. He met me on the beach. Y'all know the story. It's going to be in my upcoming solo book. I had put my affirmations in my Bible. And I said, I want a man who knows who he is and knows how to get it, a man who's active and athletic and keeps me interested past the appetizer. But I want to focus in on a man who knows what he wants and knows how to get it. That man who knows who he is and knows how he can get it. You see, he came up to me on the beach and he said, "Hello, I'm Dr. Bob Baer." I said, "Okay." And he goes, "I'd like to introduce myself. I'm not a stalker. This is my Department of Defense badge." I'm going, who is this guy? See, I was just doing what I normally was doing in July, running on the beach. Now, ladies, how kind of good did I look on the beach in July in Florida? My hair, I looked and smelled bad. But he came up to me just when I was doing my thing. And I looked at him, the badge, I thought, wait, it looks pretty official. He said, "Are you single?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Are you dating?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "I want to ask those runner legs out for a glass of wine." And the rest was history. I said to him, "I'll meet you in the lobby. This is where I live." He goes, "I know where you live." I'm going, "You are a stalker." No, 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 no. He had been looking and seeing me on the beach. He'd just come back from Afghanistan. I had just come back from to my condo after being, what should I say, debilitated from a pretty severe accident. I was back. He was back after he finished his tour in Islamabad, Pakistan. You see, all along, he was my neighbor. That is truly, truly our love story. But Bob Baer, a man who knows who he is and knows how to get it, active and athletic, and keeps me interested past the appetizer. That is truly my big bear, the trifecta. You see, little Bobby, and I love telling the story, 11 years old, he and his dad had a secret from his mom. He would bicycle up where his great uncle Harry, who was an archaeologist, actually was on expeditions with Admiral Perry. He was putting together the ancient Spanish monastery that was in pieces from, golly, the one and only William Randolph Hearst. He wanted to create San Simeon East, and it never happened. He passed, and these pieces had sat there from 1929, now 1951. And Uncle Harry knew how to put them together. That's where he got his archaeology. Just when his mama, after Uncle Harry died a couple of years later, gave him this box, he'd seen these pieces of history come together and he was hooked. But he didn't find archaeology actually right away. The man who knew what he wanted and knew how to get it found the classics in Milledgeville, Georgia, at Georgia Military College. He found Latin, history, classical music. And when his cadet contemporaries were saying that he just wanted to, they said, "Well, where are you going to go to college?" And they'd say Georgia Tech, University of Georgia, maybe the University of Tennessee, University of Alabama. Oh, no, no, no. Can you imagine the looks on these officers' faces when Cadet Bob Baer stood up and he goes, "I'm going to Oxford." Oxford? Oh, Oxford. Yes, he knew who he was. He knew how to get it. And often with these other accomplishments in a public forum, I would say, and I would say, "This is what he's done, and this is what he's done." He said, "Oh, no, no." He would be annoyed with me. Like, he wouldn't like what I'm doing here. But this message must go on past him and past me to help others. That's who we are. But this humbleness that he had was truly the mark of one so accomplished. He knew how to get it in service to America. The Vietnam officer, decorated with 2 Purple Hearts and a Silver Star, and a notable award from the University of Oxford. as number 8 out of all time, the archaeologist, RPA, from the University of Oxford, number 8 out of 100. He was annoyed about that. He always wanted to know who numbers 1 through 7 were. Absolutely competitive, bar none. But he knew how to get the maximum out of archaeology, which was his passion as well. That job loading, as he called it, or layering. Now we call it vertical lines of money. He was a professor, consulting, writing, entrepreneur, innovator at Nova Southeastern, where he was a professor. He was the trailblazer in the 80s for distance learning. Why? Not because he wanted to do something new. He was anathema to being in the classroom and just absolutely being confined. He was a true Indiana Jones, a world lecturer, explorer. He knew how to get it all the way to the Far East. See, 9/11 occurred. For the next 8-year adventure, he was working for the Department of Defense and with the Taliban, deprogramming young Islamic jihadists into acculturating them and to be contributors to society. That's why right now we have so many rugs in our house. Why? He always laughed and said, every time I thought I was going to lose my head, I just bought a rug. He even knew how to get what he wanted in this environment. He made danger an adventure and somewhat commonplace. A world-class author, then, with passing it on, was commissioned rather by the Department of Defense and is mandatory still to this day reading for all deployed men and women in our service to America, and especially during this time of Middle Eastern unrest. With each of his 7 books, Anomaly 27, San Miguel de Archangel, 100 Giants, and Texas Treasure, these are all permanent archives in the state of Florida. And historical novel, Movers and Shakers, was commissioned as an option for HBO, and we're looking to bring it out very soon in 2025 as a movie, taking place in Palm Beach County, in Palm Beach, Florida. I think that's going to be around for a while with the inauguration of President Trump again. And of course, The Lost Monasteries of William Randolph Hearst. His Oxford dissertation turned into an award-winning book, and this book is permanently housed in the Library of Congress. So shortly before our fateful meeting, as I've already told you, on the beach, I was so smitten by him. I got flustered, and my words just didn't come out exactly. The excitement in my brain, and of course, it was a little bit of ADHD, plus a little bit of infatuation on heart flutterness. I introduced him to our first business meeting and marketing opportunity and networking. I introduced him as, yes, I made a mistake. I said it was a marine biologist. No, but maybe he was even that. He was such an expert, a marine biologist. Seriously, he looked at me. He never let me give that one up for sure. But his adventure was global. It truly, he realized his adventure seeking just right up to the end of July when he announced to me, I'm just going to retire from doing this work and just write my books. But when he did this industrial archaeology, going down from our home north of Orlando down to Boynton Beach, he would spend the night in his car in the turnpike. When his very nouveau riche clients down in Miami needing this pre-excavation work done, he would always say things like, oh, I spent the night at the plaza. And his clients would say, oh, I've heard of that place. Oh, no. Here's big El Secreto on this one. He was at the Boynton Beach Turnpike Plaza, and he just relished this with such enthusiasm, just like he did being that little 11-year-old boy, being the water boy for Great Uncle Harry and those men reassembling the ancient Spanish monastery. He'd mastered the art of multiple income generating streams, often saying that in his disparaging self, I'm just not going to be that archaeologist who lives in the back room of a house, just remunerating on Uncle Tom's cabin. Oh, no. He was never that. But his self-deprecating humor came to me and came to all people that knew him. He was always getting the most out of every moment of life. When we married at the Biltmore, and you can see the pictures back there, that only was because his dad was a lifeguard there after he graduated from the University of Florida. He was a quarterback there, graduated, came back during the Depression, and was a lifeguard at the Biltmore. So, in what did Bob and I do? Well, that is the time I said, we need to bring some family history back. See, that lifeguard in the 30s, that's where that Robert Harry Baer met Eugenia Henwood, and they were married shortly after. So what did my big bear and I do? We just scoured every room at the Biltmore, every hall up to the 8th floor. We found Robert Harry Baer's picture, his dad. So he was with us. He was with us to the reception. We had this piece with him. And, if he, in his deprecating humor, what did he say the night that we had our reception? He said, well, let's just meet back here after 5 years and let's toast Miss Jody and me that we're still married. I guess we'll always be married, but that's in 5 years if I'm still alive. He had a sense of humor, even with family. He loved his Jennifer. His nickname was Grandpa Wiggly, only because he wiggled his ears. And Jack and his great youngest grandson, Mark, just left it. He became a great grandpa in heaven. But he really, really had that impish side that only people that really knew him could really appreciate. But we're going to get into that impish side as I continue to tell you the story and how we can embrace that, and which is brand new. We're going to take a commercial break here for just one moment with Mansions and Manners, one of our great, great people that I just love so much. Gloria Kerr's having the brand Mansions and Manners, truly Sotheby's with a personal touch.
Gloria Kurz is the principal broker and founder of Mansions and Manners. 30 years ago, she saw a need for a more intimate, personalized real estate experience, one that feels like working with a private bank. The office of Mansions and Manners in Jamestown, Rhode Island feels like home, just like the communities we serve. We understand the emotional and financial commitment involved in finding the perfect property, and we're here every step of the way. At Mansions and Manners, we don't just help you buy or sell a home. We build lifelong relationships. Let us help make your dream home a reality, one home at a time.
So what I want to say, I could go on, for forever. I could go on with these stories. Of course I could, because he was my big bear. But the most important thing is, if you think about who you are, you think about what it means for you to remember that loved one. Remember the good. Remember those things that just mean the most to you, just like I'm sharing these stories with you. And one last thing that I really, really want to share about this impish side of my big bear, because remember those personal times. If you feel like you just are lost and alone, remember these memories. When I said gratitude and grief, just remember that, yes, they're there, but go beyond them. And I'm going to give you some tips and just tricks, but I knew once I started, y'all, you're just going to have to put up with me today. I knew that I would get into the story because it means this much to me. And I'll really tie this up in just a minute, and how important this is, because when you know those memories, catalog those memories. Just as I'm going to give you one when we were on a trip to Hawaii, his impish side, the promo to the company that I was there, that we wanted to max out the seats in our event, was going to be held in Orlando, where we flew into. We live northwest of Orlando, of course, that following month. This was in 2018. And this award trip was given to us by the executives and all the top winning achievers. Well, what did I do? I gave them Mickey and Minnie ears. All right. Well, that night, after we got back from this, 5-star dinner, how women take off their makeup, we take a little extra time. And I looked in the bed, I'm going, Bob Baer has white hair, but there was this black thing on top of there. And I'm going, my goodness. I looked at him. He was playing possum in the bed like this. I said, Bear, what are you doing? You still got your Mickey ears on. He goes, I know. I'm sleeping with them and I'm going to wear them until I shower. I'm going to wear them until we max out those seats to 300. I just know we're going to find people in here in Hawaii. I'm just visualizing a maxed out room. Well, he did. He left them on the next 5 days. He slept with them. He wore them out every place else. Great conversation. Wore them on the plane. I'm going, you are not going to wear those Mickey ears on the plane. He goes, yes, I am. Because boo-boo, you're going to go out and you're going to find people that are going to want to sit in those seats. And you know, we had 5 tickets to our event sold before we landed in Orlando. See, he knew how to get it even in support of me. As he said, when he said, you go find those people because you're Miss Jody. Well, my Big Bear and I, we had just truly, truly amazing memories. You will hear the story in Frequency of Miracles through Dreammaker Productions. I was able and honored to tell in this docufilm series of how I was allowed in the spiritual pillar to birth my husband to heaven. When he passed, you see, his birthday was July 29. He passed on September 29. We have no control of somebody's birth date and time, their birth date and their death date. 29, you put it together, that's an angel number, 11. His last room was 711. And when he went into that last room in the hospital, I said, oh, thank heaven for 711. He absolutely knew how to get it, even in that time in the hospital. He received our Savior, whose true name is Yahuwah. He was in an Ocha syndrome when he had that severe stroke. And I asked him just to make sure. And that's why I know when he passed on September 29, he lifted his hands and he went to his eternal home. He accepted Yahuwah and his son Yahusha as his personal savior. That Ocha syndrome that stroke victims get at the beginning, he just said, okay, okay, okay. His verbal skills were not there. But as soon as I said, do you believe in Yahuwah and his son Yahusha? And he said, yes. Are you going to accept him into your life? He stopped that. Okay, okay, okay. And he said, yes. Let me tell you, I know with certainty that he's up there right now paving those streets of gold. They had to have an archaeologist up there to do that archaeological dig first. And he's up there doing exactly that. What do I know? As he was with little Bobby going and getting that water, GMAC, he knew how to get it. He knew how to get it in service to America. He knew how to get the max out of archaeology as well. He knew how to get the max out of me in supporting me in my absolute passion for what I do in health. But you know, he knew how to get it. But now, in the spiritual pillar, knowing that he is in heaven, he has received his eternal reward. It's not he knew how to get it. Now he got it. So how are you going to get the most out of your life? Let's come back to you. Let's take another commercial break. And I really want you to get in and think the most how you can get out of your life and your coffee is to make sure that you drink the best Ganoderma, healthy, reishi mushroom, and all 6 mushroom coffee that you can, of course, get on Dr. Jody approved on our website, drjody.com. Let's listen to the vibe from Vibra. go to drjodie.com under the health section, get your mushroom coffee. And why that's important when you're embracing stress, I'll just tell you, we're going to segue in to how you can put the pieces together. And I've got a little visual for you on this one as well, because if you're noticing my shirt, it's got different pieces. When you have stress, you feel like they're different pieces. And how do you put it all together? See, this is my graphic. This is what we used for my husband's virtual tribute to his life. 144 people came through the room. I'll be giving announcements at the end. If you want to experience real archaeology, real adventure, we're going to do something very, very special that I'm so excited about. And there'll be dates and times even on drjodie.com. So make sure that if you want to have a piece of slice of life, slice of this, slice of that, you go in and just be a part of what we will be doing here in April 21st to 27th for my Big Bear. But now I'm going to tie this all up together for you in the next and the last 20 minutes of this. Remember, I said to you, the 6 pillars of health, the 6 pillars, starting with spiritual, then it goes to mental. It's a mind game. Then it's emotional, how you deal with your emotions. Then physical, financial, and social. Getting those in a line, especially as you embrace stress. So what does that look like? Well, spiritual. I already said that transition. I know when I birthed my husband to heaven, I physically, being an empath, a health coach, I felt these labor pains. Now, you don't have to believe me. You can think I'm woo-woo. I don't care. I know what I feel, and I know that I believe what I believe. I was there. I even asked the nurse that night, whose name was Faith, you can't make this up, asked her for water, hot water. I was birthing him into heaven. It was a transition to go on and be more. He is more looking up and transitioned as he is into eternity. But the minute of his passing, his spirit was deposited in me. I feel it every single day, 100%, so I could do more and be more in this world for you all. First of all, for myself, as I always say, that you must go ahead and take care of you and your world so your world can be empowered forever. So these are what I want to just really share with you and like I said, I'm going to take this banner off. Go to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and share, and make sure that you get notifications when we're here every Monday at noon, Thursday at 6 p.m., and every 4th Thursday for Doctor Talk. But here is my quote from our first book, the Healthopedia, putting together the puzzle pieces of foundational health. In this book, I wrote in the physical pillar, but miracles are a spiritual pillar today, but it's that mindset. Miracles are a mental piece as well, but miracles occur every day. Beckon them in. So how spiritually are you going to beckon that in? Take that time for you. Make sure that you do your meditation. You've heard me talk about my routine, that your success in life is found in your daily routine. Even the day that Bob passed, I went to the beach. I did my autonomic nervous system walk. I went ahead. I came back. I did my hot and cold shower. You can feel this whole protocol. You can find it on my blog, drjodie.com. My blogs are there. Just type in 10 rituals. It's right there. But what I did, and see, my nose is itching because spiritually I'm sharing what you really, if you want the most out of life, you want to do so. Your nose itches too. Truly, truly. I went and did my hot and cold shower. Then I did my meditation. Then I came back and I relaxed at the beach. Do something every day for your spiritual improvement. Mentally, I've already said this, and we're going to listen to Tiffany Haddish at the very end with her Woman Up. That's what I did. I can say I listened to that song, Tiffany Haddish. If you hear this recording, I can never thank you enough. So I'm just going to say thank you for making that recording, because I would play Woman Up just to get myself mentally set. I still do it today. And I do it if I'm feeling that just not right there. You see, that's my hashtag. I'm not disallowing my grief, but there's gratitude in grief. You see, that degenerative flow starts with frustration, then it goes to anger, hatred, disease, and death. I choose not to be there in depression, anger, disease, and death. I choose gratitude that leads you into joy, love, passion, and ecstasy. That's staying but being realistic. The hashtag is hashtag gratitude and grief. I'm so grateful for these stories. I'm so grateful for the 15 years that I was with this incredible man. We packed, and those of you that know me, we packed 30 years into 15. That's just how we do it. That's just how we did it. These bears, we know how to go on that bear hunt. But emotionally, just feel that emotion. When grief comes, let it flow. Tears will clean not only your sinuses, they clean out your liver. I was angry. My eyes were so bloodshot that last week. What did I do as soon as I got home after Bob passed? I did my gallbladder cleanse. If you don't know what that is, just message me. Go to drjodie.com, just message me and send me a message. And you can contact me through my website. I will take you to that because it's so important. It's so important to get everything flowing again. So the energy was flowing in me. And it's truly very easily to do this once every 90 days. I'm going to do this. You don't have new cells until we're through 6 months. That is the flow of life. But emotionally, feel the motion. What is my anchor? Like I said, it has been my routine, my daily routine. It's been my meditation. I do self-care on Wednesdays and Saturdays. If you want to know more about that, reach out. I went and did a gallbladder flush. I did a parasite cleanse flush because my body had to flush this out. Y'all, I talk about the pH strips. If you've been hanging around with me enough, you know these tools that are in your toolbox. My pH was 5.0. It was one step above distilled water. Come on. I had to do something, but I embraced that's where I was. Eat alkaline generating foods. Right now I'm juicing and I'm doing my green miracle drink, which is found on my blog under drjodie.com. I do this twice a day and then I have my meal at night. Why? Because my digestion is still in that grief set. I get my energy bites made by Dr. Jim. You can go to vitalessence.com and get them even through my website. These are products that I've either made or have experienced, I endorsed. Wheatgrass has been my best friend. Why? Because it will get your alkalinity back in shape. But the most important thing emotionally, find your anchors, a few people that you can tell the same story to over and over and over again, no matter how many times you've got to tell it, that they will listen and they will just empathize. They won't try to fix you. They will just listen, knowing that what you're going through, as Les Brown says, you'll get through. And if you feel like you're just down and you have to fall down, another one of my famous Les Brown quotes, just fall on your back, because at least if you fall on your back, you can look up. That means you can get up. Find those anchors of friends. You only need 5 and rotate them, of course. But that physical well-being in your pillars, I've already talked about a lot of that. Just the autonomic nervous system walk, but just breathe. And this is not new to me. This is just a staple in the holistic healing world, box breathing. So we're going to do one session right here, right now. You breathe in through your nose, hold it, and then breathe out through your mouth. Do that 3 times after your autonomic nervous system walk. Do it 3 times during your day. Or if you're feeling like an overwhelm, I've got so much to do physically, make a sheet every single day. Obviously, I'm not telling you something that I'm not doing today. I have my health coaching clients. I have my publishing clients. I'm a speaker, highly sought after keynote speaker, motivational speaker. I also am a mom and a grandmom. And then I have the Bob Baer personal, I'm grieving my big bear. And then there is probate and everything post death, because death is complicated. Those are 6 different boxes. If I look at all 6 at the same time, what am I going to say? Of course, I'm going to say I'm in overwhelm. So just look at the boxes and put in those boxes, whatever are those boxes for you. If you're in that grief situation or that overwhelmed situation, it could be just you want to learn how to embrace stress in your life. Put those things in the box, but never give yourself, as my first mentor and coach said, Mary Kay, never put more than 6 things, because that's what you can get done with excellence in a day. So there's 1 in each of these boxes per day. I check it off and I feel like I've been accomplished. You do that once a day for 100 days. 1 that you do every single day, you'll be 100%. You'll say, wow, look at how far I've come. And you reward yourself in those areas. So what's important about the physical pillar in doing these, so you don't get an overwhelm, is this breathing. I do it after my autonomic nervous system walk. I'm going to do it right before I have some people coming to see about getting some of Bob Baer's rare books. I'm going to go back into that I'm a widow mode, and I need to do my breath work. So let's do it together, shall we? So you're going to breathe in for 4 counts, hold it through in your nose, and then out through your mouth. 5 counts, okay? Ready, set. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5. That is box, spelled B-O-X. That is box breathing. And how it works so well. You will feel yourself energized and revised, guaranteed. All right. Now, financial. Sometimes there's a financial setback, and there are expenses with death. There's funeral, cremation, this, that, and the other. So just know that it's only temporary. There is assistance. But in that financial piece, be open like a lotus flower, like the roses that I got from my incredible I revere her. Then she's a celebrity colleague. Now she's my true BFF through this time, Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali. Got a dozen roses on the set. That was the openness to newness, of this anticipation. Who knew that I would be in a documentary to be released in June 2025 with Dreammaker Productions and Tony and Christina Doty. Daniel Rick Snyder, who was his wife, Sonia, was in our book, The Essence of a Woman. The new opportunities. And then just expect it. Like miracles occur every day. Beckon them in, just like I said across the screen. But then socially, once you're open and once you've done your work, then you can surround yourself, as I said, with the true people. Make and remember these events. I'll be remembering what Bob and I did throughout our anniversary is coming up in January 27th. And every year he got me, every 5 years, I should say, got me an upgrade on the ring. Well, the first ring that I got really does fit this better. But if you look very closely, you see it's not a real band. I had this gold band that I wear in the house. But when he passed, I put his other gold band, he had real skinny fingers, on the other side. So this is my anchor that I remember in the gratitude and grief. Have your anchor. Embrace that stress, knowing what you're going through, you'll get through, but then open yourself up to those true friends through the true expectancy of what you can do to do more and be more. And especially if you celebrate the holidays, which I know that our Savior was born in September. So the 25th is not as important a day to me as is the Feast of Tabernacles in the fall. But there's still a safe space during this time. Find it for yourself, for just you. Remember those memories. As I look at this microcosm and I see, Daddy Bob, I see Granddad Bob, I see him with his mother, I see him in that picture that was taken at Mission Inn, and then I see him last year when we were at the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award in Chateau Elan, and he said impishly, "Let's go in the gingerbread house," and there he took his picture in the gingerbread house. He goes, "Come in with me, baby." I'm so glad I did. And I said, in my velvet gown, and he was in his tux, I said, that picture of Donald Trump and Melania where she's posing with her hands here? I've got a nice manicure. I'm going to be my version of Melania. And I pose like this. One of my favorite pictures of all time. Remember those times, but know in expectancy that this newness, that your loved one's spirit has been downloaded in you. If you embrace it, remember and expect those miracles occurring every day. You can beckon them in. And those experiences that you will have, just have grace and ease. And our last sponsor for today, you talk about grace and ease, and you talk about someone who has come into my life. I like Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali, Muhammad Ali's wife, Dame Doria Cordova. I knew her through Clubhouse. I experienced her one and only training with Money and You, but she came and stepped up to be really my friend. I am so grateful. Talking about gratitude and grief to you, Dame Doria Cordova, and what you've been, but you can be absolutely grateful for you and yourself, because her Money and You is coming up in January. What a great way to start your new year in San Diego. It is coming up January 15th through 18th. So let's listen to what I can now say, and who I can say, my great friend, Dame Doria Cordova.
Money and You is the longest running entrepreneurial, experiential, transformational training in the world. And we have been impacting the lives of over 200,000 graduates from over 85 countries since 1979. I am Doria Cordova, and I own Money and You. And I would like to invite you to join us to the next program, where you will have an opportunity to be with a group of people that will all be immersed in experiential games, where you have an opportunity to clear any blocks that you may have to really creating wealth and doing good, but at the same time, learn the business success model, which really immerses you into a conversation about leverage. Leverage is key in creating wealth and doing good. And we have the results to show that this program works. People like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Ben Cohen of Ben and Jerry's, and many others have attended this program and changed their lives and created new industry and are some of the most well-known change makers in the world. Thank you. Aloha. Bye-bye.
That is one of my favorite things that Bob and I always said to each other. I love you and thank you. I thank you and love you. Dame Doria, I love you. Here, she left a couple of comments and I'm going to pull it up, but you thank yourself. Join me. I'll be there as a graduate of Money and You. You can always come back and network for more. There's many of the Healthopedia family that will be there. Make sure that you're one of them. So the next Money and You, San Diego, California, January 15th through 18th, 2025. Take a screenshot now of this referral code. DM me at healthcoachjodie.com. Get an email, or if you go to IG, when you hit this link, there is a big discount for those of you that are members of the Healthopedia family. And you will just say, here she is. This is what Dame Doria said. We love you and send you waves of healing. She's just always there. The quintessential ism is just emoji fills my heart and soul. But what she said, you are so supportive. There are extraordinary people gathering. Robert Kiyosaki, Mo Rock, Dame Doria Cordova is there. Tom Chesser will be there, and Jody will be there, because Those that show up, this is what my great mentor always said, my first mentor, who is and was the incomparable Mary Kay Ash. She would say, those that show up, go up. So DM me at, if that's easiest, on Instagram, easiest, Healthopedia 365. I'll put those up as well. Also, I'm going to just bring my, the old school. Some people just like to call, don't you? How about this right here and right now? This is our number, 800-820-0584. 800-820-0854. Just join us. Join us as we just engage in all these things that we know that are so, so important. And speaking of engaging, before we finish up here, I want to thank the patrons who are here right now, that talk about, as Les Brown says, what we need in this world is a collective community of heart-centered servant leaders. That's who we are. I'm the servant leader in health. Dame Doria was a servant leader, and she gave me someone who was in need of our antiviral V-Guard. And now it's overnighted in the mail to her, because it is flu season and people let their immune system die down. If you're one of those, get a hold of me. But that is community. Community is also to support our broadcast. You can go to Cash App, $Baer Money. You can go to PayPal, which is my email address, jody@healthcoachjody.com. You can also hit me up on Venmo, which is just easy. It's at Jody-Baer. So use one of these modalities. Give $1, give something. But speaking of giving, I want to just reflect on one more thing about our Essence of a Woman book. It is still at 75,000. It moved up to 469 in 2 months. That's where we are on Kindle. There are billions of books that have been reached, that have gone on to be those kind of books that are epic. Well, knowing that we gave a beautiful check to the children that are still ravaged from Hurricane Helene. People think, oh, that hurricane was over. Oh, no. These children are living in a tent in Western North Carolina. Their homes have been demolished. Their lives have been decimated. And you talk about embracing stress. It could be a grief, like me, loss of a loved one, the love of my life. It could be an event like this. They need community around us, because they cannot build back a house because the area and the soil is condemned. So our way of helping them is just buy the book. You can go to Amazon, you can hit this code, but if you go to the essenceofawomanbook.com, I will be sending you the book and I will personally autograph it. But get one for yourself and a friend during this season. Give it away. Tell your friend to do the same. Find two. It's like that Fabergé commercial. Those two find those two that find those two. And pretty soon we can find ourselves feeding the world, because 1 out of 5 children go hungry to bed at night, not in Zimbabwe, not in Afghanistan, in the United States of America. That is a travesty. And tragedy and travesty. I think I was saying that word. You see, doing this small gesture, a portion of the proceeds of this book forever will go to feedthechildren.org. And we have earmarked, which this organization allows you to mark and make it to Hurricane Helene victims. So buy the book, do something during this season. And I leave you with this, my quote from this book. Who knows the future? I don't know the future. Who knew that when I wrote my chapter in the Essence of a Woman book, I called myself the woman in the white robe? Who knew that white robe would be my husband going to his eternal reward? But ladies and gentlemen, who knew? Who knows the future? Who knew that would happen to me? Now I know. But I said at the very beginning of this broadcast, the time is now. We only have now. That's why the present is a present, as William Ryder said, because it's a gift. Just when you turn those words and live in the now, It's spelled one. So let's win together. Let's win for the children that are victims for Hurricane Helene. Let's win with those people that know that. Let's win knowing leverage. And I just know it will be so, so important. I can tell you, as Dame Doria said here, the children are so resilient and they need us to provide them. And as Dame Doria said, maybe one of the rock stars, maybe Jan Canfield won't be there, maybe Robert Kiyosaki won't be, but after 45 years, the room is filled with rock stars and it needs to be filled with you. So you can, and your future self will thank you. Well, thank you. And I'm just going to give Dame Doria just a little plug here. Here, have a wonderful day. This is a TGIF. This is my new routine. I end my Fridays and have put this newness in 8 o'clock Eastern time. Just be there with Fridays with Doria. It will just set your weekend in such a fine flavor. So in every day and with all of your stress, just immerse yourself in the flow of who you are. Give yourself grace and ease. What you're going through, you'll get through. But just embrace in gratitude and grief, embrace in the stress of how you are becoming. And if you are a woman, we're going to just end with what I love so much. As I said, the great Tiffany Haddish, our main anchor author in The Essence of a Woman, as she just said to Woman Up. Let's just listen to her one more time. So ladies, if you're out there needing a little support, you just woman up. And as I say, in each and every day, have a great healthopedia kind of day. Ciao for now.
Woman up, 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 pull it together. Where's the tough, 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 tough girl that you let go and get up? Time to get your ass back on track. Wake up, girl, you better. Woman woman up.